Insellmilkom sinjuri, nistidinkom biex tibqgħu magħna illum fejn se nagħtu ħarsa lejn is-sitwazzjoni tal-familja Irjali tar-Renju Unit. X'sa jiġri meta tiġi nieqsa ir-Reġina? Se nagħtu ħarsa l-ewwel nett lejn il-coronation tagħha fis-sena 1953 u se nibqgħu sejrin biex naraw il-konnessjoni b'Malta u x'sa jiġri fil-futur.
The bell rang and the driver appeared asking for Baron de Piero with a piece of paper on which was written a code number. He compared it to mine, which was sent to me the evening before, and having appeased his suspicions that I was neither a fake or a gatecrasher, he saluted, opened the door, and off we went. This morning was bleak indeed. Rain, wind, cold, in fact, the sum total of the elements to convince one that no place but bed was anybody's business until at least 9 a.m. This part of London was literally locked in. People without a ticket for the stands were locked out. The streets were clear, with military and civilian police at key corners, all saluting very smartly. At 6 o'clock, still in the morning, Phyllis and I were sitting on our stools in Westminster Abbey. We were sitting in the gallery of the north aisle of the nave. In terms of a theatre, it would be the front row of a grand tier box. Here we sat down and hoped for the best, for we did not know how long this vigil would last, except that it would end sometime late in the afternoon.
You can see here how many people were present. Some 9,000 people, I believe, were there. And this is the coronation chair. And underneath, the stone of Scone, which had been taken from Scotland in the 17th century and is now back in Scotland. The public wanted it back in Scotland, so it was taken back. And at the next coronation, it will be brought down in state and put underneath St. Edward's chair.
And the procession had commenced. The peers and peeresses of the realm were now all silently filing in, adorned in their robes, holding their coronets, some of which had sandwiches inside. The peeresses were a galaxy of tiaras, necklaces, stomachers, pendants and jewellery of the highest quality. The pageant had commenced. The choir, the drums, the silver trumpets, the heralds and the orchestra were now taking their places.
Illustrated London News, which was a publication at the time, and here is the Queen in the state carriage.
Obviously an avid follower of the royal family.
Yes.
I love your collection. Tell me a bit about it.
Well, the collection started when I was about 4 years old, when the Queen's coronation. And at school we were all given a tin of sweets with the Queen's picture and a mug. And it was a glass mug at that time. England was still recovering from the war, so I presume that's why it was a glass mug. But I still treasure it.
So do you remember that day in
Yes,
1953?
Tell me a bit about it. It rained. Mum made us all like crowns with with crepe paper and stars and balloons, and we, the whole neighbourhood hired a big top, a tent, and it rained, but we had a party and hats and balloons and fireworks.
And you remember watching it on TV?
We didn't have it in those days, but we used to. There was a boy down the road whose parents said, you can all come and watch, and she got out lemonade and more cake and everything. But then in those days there was Pathé News. I don't know if you remember. Yes. The cock used to crow and Pathé News, and we used to see it on the cinema.
Father Simon, what are your thoughts about Camilla's role after the next coronation?
Well, there's been speculation right through since the Prince of Wales divorced the Princess of Wales and then remarried as to what status his new wife would have. I think at the beginning, before she proved herself and was endeared of the United Kingdom and other places around the world, it was thought that she probably would not be made queen. I have my thoughts, and I'd like to see her crowned as queen. She is, after all, at this moment, the Princess of Wales. But they don't use the title because some people would be offended by it because of Diana. She's called the Duchess of Cornwall. That's one of her titles. She will be queen, but she might have other titles to be sensitive to the memory of Diana, Princess of Wales. But I would like to see her crowned.
Minni Camilla, id-Dukessa ta' Cornwall. Għaliex kien diffiċli għal Prinċep Charles li jiżżewweġ lil Camilla? Camilla u Charles kellhom relazzjoni u romanz diffiċli. Iltaqgħu l-ewwel darba fis-sena 1970. Iżda ma żewġux sas-sena 2005. Għaliex damu 35 sena sakemm ma setgħu jiżżewġu. Camilla iltaqat mar-raġel futur tagħha, Andrew Parker Bowles, fis-sena 1965. Camilla kienet toħroġ mal-Prinċep Charles. U r-raġel tagħha, Andrew Parker Bowles, kien joħroġ ma' Princess Anne. Andrew u Camilla iżżewġu fis-sena 1973. Camilla ma kienitx ikkunsidrata xierqa għal Prinċep Charles peress li kellha numru ta' boyfriends. Patricia, Lady Mountbatten, li kellha ħafna influenza fuq il-monarkija, dejjem opponiet l-idea li Camilla tiżżewweġ lil Prinċep Charles u introduċiet lil Charles lin-neputija tagħha Amanda Knatchbull li irrifjutat tiżżewweġ lil Charles. Il-familja irjali kellha pjanijiet oħra għalih. Nantu, il-Queen Mother, irranġat biex Charles jiltaqa' man-neputijiet ta' ħbiba tagħha Lady Fermoy. Waħda min-neputijiet kienet Diana. Charles l-ewwel ħareġ ma' oħt Diana l-kbira, Lady Sarah Spencer. Imbagħad iltaqa' ma' Diana u iżżewġu fis-sena 1981. Li tiżżewweġ it-tieni darba dak iż-żmien ma kienx aċċettabbli mill-familja irjali. Madankollu Camilla ddivorzjat lil żewġha fis-sena 1995 u Charles divorzja lil Diana fis-sena 1996.
Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Il-Knisja Anglikana kellha regoli stretti dwar is-suċċess tal-kuruna. U Charles seta' jitlef ħafna meta żżewweġ lil Camilla. Il-Knisja Anglikana bidlet ir-regoli fis-sena 2002 u Charles u Camilla iżżewġu fis-sena 2005. Charles sa jsir ir-re meta tiġi nieqsa ir-Reġina Elisabetta. U llum Camilla kisbet il-popolarità u ġiet aċċettata ħafna mill-pubbliku.
What
What are your views about the future connection of the royal family and Malta?
Well, we are awaiting a decision from the Prince of Wales's office at the moment for the name of our new patron, because the last one was Prince Philip, God rest his soul. And we are to have a memorial service to him, and we have a copy of his Garter banner, which we're going to display in church. And when he was alive, last year, we wrote to him and asked if we could do this for his 100th anniversary, and he said yes, through his private secretary, Brigadier Archie Miller Bakewell, who was at his funeral, and it was all going ahead, and then sadly he died. But we are now in negotiations with his former private secretary, who is sort of wrapping up his office, about putting up this new banner. So we don't know who it will be.
Grazzi li qed isegwu il-programm illum. Ix-xandira bħalissa qed issir minn St. Paul's Pro Cathedral ġol-Belt Valletta. Sa nifqu għal waqfa qasira u sa narakom dal-waqt.